Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Hames, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Digital and Social Strategy at 3 Enrollment Marketing. We're here today to talk about the Institute for Higher Education. The Institute is June 4th to 8th in Clearwater Beach, Florida. And today is one of the last days where you can register and get a 25% discount. You can see the code just below here. Use that code to get 25% off. Today I'm joined by the keynote speaker on Thursday, the last day of the Institute. Jessica. Jessica, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody who's live?
Well, first of all, Matt, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here and share a little bit about myself and the work that we do. So, my name is Jessica Chen, and I'm the founder and CEO of Soulcast Media, and we are a communications training company. So, we work with Fortune 100 companies. We go in, we teach their teams how to be better communicators. We also do a lot of work helping folks elevate their presentation skills. Prior to Soulcast Media, I used to be a former TV news reporter. I won an Emmy Award when I was at ABC in San Diego, and I was a news reporter for about 10 years before I started Soulcast Media. So, a lot of the foundational training that we do here at the company is really based on that. But love the work that I do. We get to impact so many people. And one other thing, I'm also a LinkedIn Learning instructor. So, for those who want to
Right.
see these courses, 2 million people have watched them, so highly, highly recommend.
So all of that, the Emmy Award and the 2 million LinkedIn learners are all in the description of this video. So you can read more. You can also follow Jessica on LinkedIn. She's a great follow. I personally have learned a lot. Jessica did some sessions for us talking about training, about using hands, having good lighting, having good
Mhm.
sounds. I think about that a lot when I do presentations. So thank you for that. Um, I also want to ask you a little bit about how Soulcast Media is getting involved in training students in universities. Can you talk a little bit about that?
This is something we are so excited about. So recently we started entering the higher education space, and we realized it's such a perfect fit given what we do and the need that we see out there. So I'll give you an example. We recently joined forces with the University of St. Thomas in Houston to pilot a communications program for their students. It is a fantastic program, and I really have to give kudos to Arthur, who really was the one that saw that this was a good bridge that we could build together. And long story short, we're basically offering communications live workshops for students so they can really learn what I call career centered communication skills. So it's teaching these students things like, how would you speak up in meetings when you're at work or when you're
Yeah.
interning? How can you advocate for yourself? How can you be a better public speaker? It's funny because oftentimes when I tell professionals that this is what we're doing for students, a lot of times they say, I wish I had this when I was in school too. And I
Yeah.
completely agree. So, this is something that we just rolled out recently. It's been covered all over the media. We're very, very excited. And honestly, I feel like we're just at the beginning of this, where I imagine we're going to be seeing a lot more amazing institution, amazing universities realize, hey, this is something that we would love to provide for our students as a great add-on resource. So we're really excited about it.
And I actually interviewed Arthur just recently about just his experience at the Institute, and he
Mhm.
mentioned that this connection happened at last year's Institute for Higher Education, where you were also a keynote speaker.
The institute really just brings together amazing minds, honestly. So yes, I was speaking last year at the institute also about communications, and I believe Arthur was there. And so he heard me speak, and then of course he started looking at, okay, what's Soulcast Media, what do we do? And then that's the thing, he saw the opportunity to essentially bring us into the university and offer this to students. And after several conversations, we eventually created this program that honestly has worked so well. We just finished our first live workshop with their students. Oh my gosh, it
Wow.
was actually last week. And it was awesome. It was great just seeing all these students ask questions, participate. And I'll tell you, the topic that we talked about last week was really to get the students to think about how they can remove any of this communication barriers that oftentimes we feel. So that was our first topic, and it changes every single month too.
Well, that's so awesome. And it's a really good segue into what can people expect out of your keynote presentation at the Institute for Higher Education?
There's so much, honestly, when it comes to communications. And given that I only have 1 hour, I really had to think
Yeah.
about, okay, what can I talk about that'll make sure that everybody can walk away with real good, tangible tips? Because that's for me, that's really the key here. I want to be able to teach folks, but also at the same time inspire. So, some of the things I will be talking about is really how you can put together a presentation, your messaging, so you can gain the audience's ears. And when I say audience, it could mean internal stakeholders, external clients, it doesn't matter. But being mindful of who your audience is, identifying them, and then thinking about how to tailor your message to them. I'm going to be walking attendees through essentially three things to think about. And my hope is at the end of it, everybody will be like, ah, I got it. I know what I need to do to structure my presentation, what information to keep. I'll also be sharing some tips on also just general presentation and delivery, because I think this is a universal skill that honestly we can all use. So,
Yeah, I mean, I actually think presenting is a muscle that you continually have to use. Like I'm always
mhm,
thinking about how to get better, how to have better lighting, how to like I'm making eye contact right now with a green dot so that I'm looking
mhm.
into the camera and not necessarily looking at you. So while I'm talking to you, I'm not looking at you. It's those little tricks that you can do that make you feel more in the moment and
Mhm.
inviting to the person you're presenting to.
Oh, absolutely. I know. I mean, it's funny. We've all been kind of in this remote slash hybrid
Yeah.
work environment for, a while now. But, for some people, it's still, we're still trying to figure out, yes, do I look at the camera lens or I look at the camera screen? And I get it. It's hard. But like you said, Matt, it is a muscle. And, you just practice, you get better, including with presentations and public speaking. You practice and you get better. It's not like once you do it, you get it, right? Because environments change, people change. And that's essentially what we talk about a lot. It's just being adaptable and flexible, and that's really the bulk of what I teach, communications.
Right. So in your presentation, which is going to be on June 8th, the Institute for Higher Education is June 4th to 8th. Today again is a great date to register for this event because if you use the code FEB25, all uppercase FEB25, you can get 25% off your registration. And make sure that you look at the links on the institute page for links to the room rates because the published room rates are not the room rates that we have for attendees. But on the 8th, you're going to get a great presentation by Jessica on not just presenting, but also
Mhm.
how to actually present. So I'm
Mhm.
going to kind of close here, Jessica, with I'm going to ask you two tips for remote presenters, like somebody like me who's presenting. What are two tips for presenting?
I mean, what we talked about earlier, it's, I think, just fundamentally, where do we look?
Yeah.
And I still to this day, I see folks kind of looking all over the place. And part of the reason why is because for many of us who work from home or we have a home setup, we have dual monitors, right? I have a dual
Yeah.
monitor and it makes it easy for us to work. But I do think when it comes to presentations, you want to just be mindful of if you're giving a presentation, you're trying to, as best as you can, look at the camera lens, sometimes look at the screen, but just kind of toggle your eyes between the two. Because what you want to avoid is talking about something, presentation or not, honestly, even when you're in a meeting, just being sure that instead of looking away, you're looking straight. Imagine if I
Right.
was talking to you the whole time, Matt, and my face was just kind of looking over this way. It would just feel
Yeah,
very
it's
impersonal.
off-putting.
Right. So subtle cues like that can really make a huge difference. And I always say, yes, when it comes to presentations or meetings, you do have another computer, but just in that 30 minutes, 40-minute meeting that you're in, just try to make sure that you're centered. Good lighting, of course, cannot be underestimated.
Yep.
Sometimes we still see folks sitting in a dark room, but when we talk about body language, for example, you want people to see your facial expression. So if it's just kind of like a dark silhouette, people can't really see that. I'm trying to think. I have so many. I'm like, which one should I share? I would
Hands
say
are a good
one.
thing. Like you're a good presenter with your hands. I think using your hands just brings energy into the presentation.
It really does. And it kind of shows engagement and shows that you are present. So hands, I think, are an asset. Instead of just kind of
Yeah.
keeping it on your mouse, lift it up, use it, but not frantically, right? It's just kind of from
Right, right,
time to time
absolutely.
to accentuate what you're trying to say. So those are just some mini tips, a little teaser
I've
of
always
sorts.
thought too that the camera kind of steals some excitement. So, it's a made up number, but let's say 10 is really exciting and 0 is really boring. I think the camera steals about 2. So if you go into a presentation as a 6, like I'm pretty excited about this, the camera turns it into a 4 and you don't seem as excited. So I always feel like you need to just turn up that excitement a little bit, especially when you're passionate about something, because the camera is just going to steal some of that. It's never true
Oh,
in real life. In real life, you have all this fight or flight, and so
yeah.
you're always excited presenting in real life. In virtually, though, you just have to turn up the excitement, I think. What do you think about that?
It's completely true. A lot of times when people talk, they think, "Oh, am I shouting now?" But it's no, it's not about
Right.
you thinking about you're shouting or you're too animated. It's true. When you are speaking on camera, there is this distance, right? And you
Yeah.
do have to elevate your energy, your projection a little bit because that's how people can feel it more. Otherwise, something about speaking on camera kind of mutes it a little bit, for sure. So, that's a good
Right.
point.
Well, anyway, Jessica, thank you so much for joining me today. Folks, this is the kinds of things that you're going to learn from Jessica. There's so much more. She's an incredible speaker. The lineup, take a look at the lineup on the website, which is 3enrollment.com/institute, or the URL that's right below me here. Um, Go and take a look at the agenda. Take a look at the keynote speakers. Follow Jessica on LinkedIn. Learn from her. She has so many great tips. As I said, I continually learn from you, Jessica. So, thank you so much for joining me today. Um, I really, really appreciate it. See, I'm trying to get ums out of my presentation style. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, Jessica. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say at the Institute.
Thanks, Matt. And I look forward to seeing all of you at the Institute.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.